touch is gonna break my arm.
That candy apple red coupe spinning through ZZ Top's music videos wasn't just a prop. The Eliminator started life as a rusted-out barn find before becoming the most recognized hot rod in rock and roll history. But why did the band initially reject the car? How did a studio paint job nearly destroy everything? And what's the truth behind those mysterious rotating fuzzy dice? Today, we're counting down 20 weird facts about ZZ Top's Eliminator that will completely change how you see this legendary three-window coupe. From hidden builder disputes to replica controversies, these revelations might just blow your mind. So buckle up, hit that like button if you love classic hot rods and rock history, and let's dive into the garage secrets behind this iconic Ford. Number 20, the barn find nobody wanted.
I did not notice that a little bit ago.
This is a very
The Eliminator didn't start as anyone's dream car. Pete Chaporis and Jake Jacobs found the 1933 Ford Coupe rotting in a Riverside, California barn in 1980. The body was trashed, eaten through with rust holes you could stick your fist through. The frame was bent from decades of neglect. Most builders would have walked away, but Chaporis saw potential where others saw scrap metal. They bought it for $800, which even in 1980 was cheap for a genuine 33 body. The previous owner had used it as a chicken coop for nearly 20 years. Bird droppings had corroded the interior completely. The floor pans were gone. The firewall had rusted through. When they loaded it onto their trailer, pieces literally fell off during transport. Back at California's Street Rods in La Habra, the crew spent 3 days just pressure washing decades of accumulated filth. What emerged was worse than expected. They'd need to fabricate 70% of the body from scratch. Most of the original Ford remained only in the basic shape. The roof was the only panel they could save completely. Everything else required extensive metalwork or complete replacement. This wasn't a restoration, this was resurrection. Number 19, Chaporis and Jacobs built it for themselves. Here's something most people don't realize. Chaporis and Jacobs didn't build the Eliminator for ZZ Top. They built it for themselves as the shop's promotional vehicle. California Street Rods needed a showcase car that demonstrated their skills. They wanted something that would turn heads at car shows and attract paying customers. The 1933 three-window coupe was perfect. It represented the golden era of hot rodding while offering enough space for modern mechanicals. They started the build in early 1981 with no client, no deadline, and no budget constraints beyond their own pockets. This freedom lets them obsess over every detail. They could experiment with techniques and modifications they'd always wanted to try. The car became their rolling business card. Every choice reflected their vision of the perfect hot rod. They installed a Corvette 350 cubic inch small block because they loved the reliability and parts availability. They chose Halibran kidney bean wheels because they looked period correct while being modern reproductions. The Jaguar independent rear suspension came from their desire to combine classic looks with contemporary handling. They spent 18 months building it, working nights and weekends around paying jobs. When finished, they painted it yellow, not candy apple red, yellow. The color that would define the car came later, and not by their choice. Number 18, ZZ Top, initially rejected the car. When Bill Ham, ZZ Top's manager, first approached California Street Rods about featuring a hot rod in their upcoming video, Chaporis and Jacobs showed him their yellow coupe. Ham took one look and said, no. Wrong color, wrong vibe. Not what he envisioned for the band's image. The rejection stung. They'd just spent a year and a half building what they thought was the perfect hot rod. Ham wanted something darker, more mysterious, more aligned with ZZ Top's Texas blues roots. He specifically requested candy apple red with dark, almost sinister undertones. Chaporis argued that yellow was a classic hot rod tradition. Ham didn't care about tradition. He cared about image and branding. The Eliminator album artwork was already designed with red tones. The stage setup featured red lighting. Everything in the band's new visual identity centered on that color palette. A yellow car would clash completely. After 3 days of negotiations, they reached a compromise. California Street Rods would repaint the car if ZZ Top covered the costs and used it prominently in multiple videos. The band agreed, but added one condition. The car had to be ready in 3 weeks. That timeline was insane for a quality paint job. They'd need to strip the yellow, prep the body, and apply multiple coats of candy apple red. Chapuris warned that rushing could compromise quality. Ham didn't budge. 3 weeks or find another car. Number 17, the rush paint job created problems.
Let's do it, my God, yeah.
3 weeks to completely repaint a show car meant cutting corners. Chapuris knew it, Jacobs knew it, but ZZ Top's deadline was non-negotiable. They stripped the yellow paint in 2 days, working around the clock. The bare metal revealed issues they had hidden under the original paint. Small imperfections that didn't matter under yellow suddenly became critical under candy apple red. Candy paint is translucent. It shows everything. Every ripple, every low spot, every high spot. They had no time for proper metal finishing. The solution was more primer and more sanding. They shot primer, blocked it smooth, found more imperfections, shot more primer. The cycle repeated for a week. By day 9, they were behind schedule. The candy red required perfect surface preparation. Any flaw would be magnified under those transparent color coats. They worked 19-hour days. The paint booth became their home. They shot the base coat on day 12. The candy coats went on over the next 3 days. Each layer had to dry completely before the next. They couldn't rush the chemistry. The final clear coat went on day 17. It needed 72 hours to cure properly. They delivered it on day 20 with the paint barely hardened. The rushing showed. Within 6 months, the paint developed small cracks around the door jambs and hood edges. The rush prep work was coming back to haunt them. Number 16, nobody knows who actually designed the Eliminator look, Pete Chapuris. The design sketches, here's where the story gets messy. Both Chapuris and Jacobs claim credit for the Eliminator's design, but their accounts contradict each other. Chapuris says he drew the initial sketches and shows all major components. Jacobs insists he designed the body modifications and stance. Interviews from the 80s show them presenting a united front, but by the 90s, cracks appeared. They had dissolved their partnership in 1983, just 2 years after completing the car. The split was bitter. Legal disputes followed. Part of their disagreement centered on who deserved recognition for the Eliminator. Chapuris built his later career partly on being the Eliminator's creator. He wrote books, gave lectures, and built replicas under his own name. Jacobs felt erased from history. He'd done equal work, but received less credit. Magazine articles from 1982 list both builders, but later features often mentioned only Chapuris. This wasn't accidental. Chapuris actively promoted himself as the Eliminator's sole creator. He controlled the narrative through media relationships and industry connections. Jacobs retreated from the spotlight, focusing on other projects. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Hot rod builds are collaborative efforts. The fabricator, the designer, the painter, the assembler all contribute. Separating individual contributions becomes impossible. But egos and money complicate everything. Today, most hot rod historians credit both men equally. The Eliminator was their joint masterpiece, even if they can't agree on the details. Number 15, the Corvette engine was rebuilt 3 times.
Gen 1 small block 350 that came out of my 1970 Corvette.
That Corvette 350 small block under the Eliminator's hood wasn't just dropped in and forgotten. It required 3 complete rebuilds during the first 2 years. The original engine came from a 1969 Corvette, already a strong foundation. They bored it 30 thousandths over, installed high compression pistons, and added a crane camshaft. The combination made great power, but proved fragile. During the first video shoot for Gimme All Your Lovin', the engine overheated catastrophically. They'd been idling for hours under hot lights. The cooling system couldn't handle it. The heads warped. The head gaskets blew. They shipped the car back to California and tore the engine down. Rebuild number 1 replaced the heads with better castings and upgraded the cooling system. 3 months later, during the Sharp-Dressed Man video shoot, the camshaft failed. A manufacturing defect in the crane cam caused a lobe to wipe out. Metal shavings contaminated the oil system. They had to pull the engine, disassemble everything, clean every component, and install a new camshaft. Rebuild number 2 took 6 weeks. The third failure came during a promotional appearance in Texas. A broken valve spring destroyed a piston. This time, they went overkill. Forged pistons, upgraded valve springs, better rods. They also switched to synthetic oil and installed an oil cooler. Finally, the engine became reliable enough for constant use. Number 14. The fuzzy dice were rigged.
Got fuzzy dice?
To rotate those iconic fuzzy dice hanging from the mirror weren't just decoration. They were mechanically rigged to rotate constantly. ZZ Top's production team wanted movement in every shot. Static elements bored television audiences. They needed visual interest beyond just the car and band. Someone suggested making the dice spin. The special effects crew built a custom motor mount that attached to the rearview mirror stem. A tiny 12-volt motor connected to fishing line created the rotation. The dice themselves were custom-made, larger than normal fuzzy dice for better camera visibility. They measured 4 inches per side versus the typical 2-inch standard. The fishing line ran through internal channels in the dice, invisible to cameras. The motor speed was adjustable via a hidden rheostat. Slow rotation for dramatic shots, faster spinning for upbeat moments. The system worked perfectly until the legs video shoot. The motor overheated and seized during a long take. Smoke started pouring from the mirror assembly. They shut down filming for 2 hours while the effects team rebuilt the mechanism. After that, they installed 2 backup motors. If one failed, another could take over instantly. The dice appeared in every major ZZ Top video from 1983 to 1985. Fans assumed they just swayed naturally from air movement. The mechanical secret remained hidden for decades until Ace Gold's behind-the-scenes documentary revealed the truth in 2012. Number 13. 3 identical replicas were built for touring. $1 Top couldn't risk the original Eliminator getting damaged during their world tour. The solution was building identical replicas. California Street Rods received an order for 3 perfect duplicates. Each had to match the original exactly. Same paint, same interior, same wheels, same stance. But here's where it gets interesting. The replicas were actually built better than the original. They had time and budget for proper construction. No rushed paint jobs, no compromises. The first replica took 6 months to complete. They documented every measurement on the original car. Hood gaps, fender alignment, ride height, everything. They built jigs to ensure consistency across all 3 replicas. The engines were identical, Corvette 350s, but these were fresh builds with new components. No hand-me-down parts. The paint jobs received proper preparation, no shortcuts. Each replica got 2 weeks of blocking before the first primer coat. The candy red application took another week per car. These replicas actually looked better than the original. The paint was smoother, the gaps were tighter, the overall finish was superior. This created a problem. When the replicas appeared alongside the original at car shows, people could tell the difference. The original looked rougher, more worn. Its rushed construction showed. ZZ Top's team made a decision. They retired the original to climate-controlled storage and used only replicas for touring and appearances. Number 12. The interior was stolen. From a 1932. Look closely at the Eliminator's interior, and you'll notice something odd. It doesn't match a stock 1933 Ford. That's because the entire interior came from a 1932. Shapori and Jacobs had a wrecked 32 Roadster sitting in their yard. The body was destroyed, but the interior was pristine. Someone had restored it beautifully with correct upholstery and trim. Rather than source correct 33 parts or have custom upholstery made, they just swapped the entire interior. The seats, door panels, carpet, and headliner all migrated from the 32 to the 33. This saved money and time. The interior was ready to install immediately. No waiting for upholstery shops, no color matching headaches. The swap wasn't perfect. 32 and 33 Fords had slightly different interior dimensions. The door panels needed modification. The seat mounts required custom brackets. The carpet had to be trimmed and refitted. But these issues were minor compared to building an interior from scratch. The red and white tuck and roll upholstery matched the exterior paint scheme perfectly. Pure coincidence. The 32's interior was red and white before they even considered painting the Eliminator red. When Bill Ham saw the interior, he declared it perfect for the video aesthetic. The color coordination looked intentional, like they'd planned it. They never corrected that assumption. Why ruin a good story with the boring truth? Number 11. Billy Gibbons couldn't actually drive it. Here's a secret the band never wanted fans to know. Billy Gibbons, his Top's guitarist and the guy most associated with the Eliminator, couldn't drive stick shift when they shot the first videos. The Coupe had a 4-speed manual transmission. Gibbons had only driven automatics his entire life. The first video shoot revealed this problem immediately. They needed shots of Gibbons driving through city streets. He stalled at the first light. The clutch was heavy, the shifter was notchy, and he couldn't get the coordination right. After 6 failed takes, the director called a break. They had 2 options: install an automatic transmission or teach Gibbons to drive manual. Installing an automatic would take weeks and thousands of dollars. Teaching Gibbons was faster and cheaper. The stunt coordinator spent 3 days in a parking lot teaching the fundamentals. Clutch in, shift, clutch out. Repeat. Gibbons was a quick learner, but the Eliminator wasn't a forgiving teacher. The clutch engagement was abrupt. The throttle was sensitive. First gear was ridiculously low, making smooth starts nearly impossible. By day 3, Gibbons could drive the car competently enough for video work. Barely. Watch the videos carefully and you'll notice something. The car never actually moves during close-ups of Gibbons in the driver's seat. Those shots were filmed with the car stationary. Any actual driving shots used either a stunt driver or were filmed on a trailer rig. Number 10. The Halabrand wheels were discontinued before the build. Chaporis wanted authentic Halabrand kidney bean wheels for the Eliminator. These magnesium beauties defined 1950s hot rod style. One problem: Halabrand stopped making them in 1979. The company had gone bankrupt, and the original molds were sold off. Chaporis spent 2 months hunting for a set. He called every wheel dealer in California. He posted wanted ads in hot rod magazines. He attended swap meets every weekend. Finally, he found 4 wheels in a barn in Bakersfield. They were corroded, pitted, and needed complete restoration. The magnesium had oxidized badly after years of storage. Professional wheel restoration shops quoted $3,000. Too expensive. Chaporis decided to restore them himself. He spent 3 weeks polishing each wheel by hand. Steel wool, compound, and elbow grease. The magnesium was soft and prone to scratching. Every imperfection showed. He got them looking decent, but not perfect. Small pits remained visible up close. For video work, they looked fine. The camera wouldn't catch minor flaws, but at car shows, people noticed. This bothered Chaporis endlessly. Years later, when reproduction Halabrands became available, he immediately bought a new set. The originals went into storage. Today, those original corroded wheels are worth more than the reproductions. Collectors value their connection to the actual video car. Number 9. The Jaguar. Rear suspension. Nearly destroyed the frame. Installing independent rear suspension from a Jaguar XKE seemed brilliant on paper. The Jag setup offered modern handling while maintaining a low profile. In practice, it nearly catastrophic. The Jaguar differential mounted differently than a traditional Ford rear end. It required cutting the original frame rails and welding in custom crossmembers. Jacobs did the fabrication work himself. He measured, cut, and welded over 3 days. The first test drive revealed a horrible mistake. The frame flexed terribly. The 33 Ford frame was never designed for independent rear suspension loads. Traditional rear ends distributed forces differently. The Jaguar setup concentrated stress at the mounting points. After 20 miles of testing, cracks appeared in the frame rails. Structural failure was imminent. They pulled the car apart completely. The frame needed boxing for reinforcement. This meant welding steel plates inside the frame rails to prevent flexing. The work took 2 weeks. They also added a custom subframe to better distribute suspension loads. The modifications added 80 pounds, not ideal for a lightweight hot rod. The handling improvement justified the weight penalty. The independent rear suspension transformed the car's dynamics. It cornered flat without the traditional live axle hop. The ride quality improved dramatically. Modern sports car handling in a 1933 body, worth every hour of frustration. Number 8. Warner Brothers demanded ownership rights. After the "Gimme All Your Lovin'" video exploded on MTV, Warner Brothers Records made an aggressive move. They demanded partial ownership of the Eliminator. The car had become synonymous with the band's image. Warner's legal team argued it was integral to the album's marketing success. They wanted control over its use and appearances. Chaporis and Jacobs refused immediately. They'd built the car with their own money and labor. ZZ Top had simply rented it for video production. Warner Brothers threatened to sue, claiming the car's image was tied to their intellectual property. The Eliminator album cover featured a stylized version of the Coupe. Music videos had made it internationally famous. Warner's lawyers argued this created a derivative work they partly owned. The dispute dragged on for 8 months. Chapuri hired an intellectual property attorney. The legal fees were crushing his business. California Street Rods was hemorrhaging money on lawyer bills instead of building cars. Finally, they reached a settlement. Chaporis and Jacobs retained full ownership, but granted Warner Brothers unlimited rights to use the car's image in promotional materials. Warner could feature it in videos, advertisements, and merchandise without payment or permission. In exchange, Warner dropped all ownership claims and paid legal fees. The compromise satisfied nobody completely, but ended the legal nightmare. Number 7. The car appeared in 17 music videos. Most fans know the Eliminator from the big 3 ZZ's Top videos: "Gimme All Your Lovin'," "Sharp Dressed Man," and "Legs." But the car actually appeared in 17 different music videos between 1983 and 1990. After the initial trilogy's success, ZZ Top's management wanted the car in everything. It became their visual signature. Some appearances were prominent. The car was the star. Other times, it just sat in the background, barely visible. Sleeping Bag, Stages, Velcro Fly, Rough Boy, and a dozen others featured the red coupe somewhere. Music video directors learned to include it even when it didn't fit the storyline. Record label executives demanded its presence. Marketing research showed the car boosted video popularity. MTV viewers associated the Eliminator with ZZ Top more strongly than the band members themselves. This created tension within the group. Frank Beard and Dusty Hill felt overshadowed by a car. Billy Gibbons loved the attention, but even he grew tired of the constant Eliminator expectations. By 1990, they'd retired the car from regular video appearances. It made occasional cameos, but the era of Eliminator dominance ended. The band wanted to evolve beyond the hot rod image. They'd become prisoners of their own success. The car that made them MTV superstars had become a creative limitation. Number 6. A Japanese collector. Offered $2 million. In 2006, a Japanese automobile collector made an offer nobody expected: $2 million cash for the original Eliminator. The offer came through an intermediary who contacted Chaporis directly. The collector remained anonymous, but was rumored to be a technology billionaire. He wanted the car for a private museum in Tokyo, showcasing American automotive culture. The collection already included James Dean's Porsche replicas, Steve McQueen's Mustang, and Elvis Presley's Cadillacs. The Eliminator would be the centerpiece. Chaporis seriously considered selling. $2 million was life-changing money. He was in his 60s, thinking about retirement. California Street Rods had closed years earlier. The car sat in storage, rarely seen by anyone. But the offer created complications. Jacobs claimed partial ownership rights. Their 1980 settlement hadn't clearly defined ownership percentages. Lawyers reviewed the old agreements and found ambiguities. Jacobs demanded half of any sale proceeds. Chaporis offered 30%. They couldn't agree. The Japanese collector grew impatient and withdrew the offer after 90 days of negotiations. The deal collapsed over greed and old grudges. Neither builder got anything. The car remained in Shapoor's possession, but the missed opportunity haunted both men. Industry insiders still discuss it as one of the biggest fumbled collector car deals ever. Number 5, 57. Replica Eliminators were built commercially. The Eliminators' fame spawned a replica industry. Between 1985 and 2010, at least 57 commercial replicas were built and sold. These weren't backyard projects. Professional shops created turnkey cars for wealthy fans. Prices ranged from $75,000 to $300,000, depending on quality and components. The first replicas appeared in 1985, just 2 years after the original videos. Hot rod builders recognized demand for Eliminator clones. They bought 33 Ford bodies, copied the modifications, and painted them candy apple red. Early replicas were crude approximations, the proportions were wrong, the stance was off. The details didn't match, but buyers didn't care. They wanted the look, not perfect accuracy. By the 1990s, replica quality improved dramatically. Builders studied video footage frame by frame. They measured the original car at shows. They interviewed people who'd worked on it. Each generation of replicas got closer to the original. Some became virtually indistinguishable. This created problems at car shows. People couldn't tell real from fake. Unscrupulous sellers claimed their replicas were the actual video car. Multiple original Eliminators appeared for sale simultaneously. Shapoor tried fighting the replica market through legal threats. His lawyers sent cease and desist letters to replica builders. The efforts failed. You can't copyright a car's appearance. The replicas continued multiplying. Number 4. The car's current value is disputed. Ask 3 different collector car experts what the Eliminator is worth, and you'll get 3 wildly different answers. Haggerty Insurance estimates between $1.5 and $2 million. Barrett Jackson representatives suggest $3 to $4 million at auction. Private dealers claim it could bring $6 million to the right buyer. The valuation problem stems from the car's unique status. It's not just a hot rod, it's a cultural icon. Normal valuation metrics don't apply. Comparable sales don't exist. Nothing else matches its fame and recognition. The 1932 Ford from American Graffiti sold for $300,000 in 2015. Less famous, but it had clear title and provenance. The Batmobile brings 7 figures at auction. A movie car, but from an earlier era with different cultural impact. The Eliminator sits somewhere between these examples. Definitively valuable, but how valuable remains unclear. The ownership disputes complicate matters further. Unclear title makes selling difficult. Any buyer would face potential legal challenges from Jacob's estate. He died in 2015, but his heirs maintain ownership claims. Insurance companies won't issue agreed value policies without clear title. This limits who can afford to buy it. The car exists in a legal and financial limbo, priceless in cultural terms, but practically unsellable in current condition. Number 3. MTV banned it from TRL appearances. In 2001, MTV launched Total Request Live's Special Car Week. They invited famous vehicles from music video history. The Eliminator was an obvious choice. ZZ Top's management arranged to bring one of the replicas to Times Square. MTV producers initially approved, then reversed their decision 48 hours before the scheduled appearance. The reason? Safety concerns. Times Square crowds were too unpredictable. The Eliminator generated too much attention. Fans would mob the car, creating crowd control nightmares. MTV's insurance carriers refused to cover it. One insurer specifically cited riot potential in their rejection. This seemed absurd. Other cars appeared without incident. But the Eliminator carried different baggage. It represented rebellious 1980s culture. MTV worried it would attract wrong crowd elements. Gang members, troublemakers, people who damage property or start fights. The decision infuriated ZZ Top. They accused MTV of betraying their own history. The Eliminator helped build MTV's identity in the 1980s. Now they were rejecting it for being too popular. Billy Gibbons gave angry interviews about MTV's corporate cowardice. The publicity backlash was severe. MTV eventually apologized, but didn't reverse the decision. The Eliminator never appeared on TRL. Other music video cars filled the slot. The incident marked a symbolic end to the car's mainstream media presence. Number 2. It's currently in a secret Nevada storage facility. The Eliminator's current location is one of hot rodding's best-kept secrets. Chapouris died in 2022, taking some answers to his grave. Industry insiders believe the car sits in a climate-controlled facility outside Las Vegas. The building reportedly stores other celebrity vehicles and entertainment memorabilia, armed security, temperature and humidity controls, insurance requirements worth millions annually. Only 3 people allegedly know the exact location: Chapouris' widow, his attorney, and the storage facility manager. Even ZZ Top's management claims ignorance about its whereabouts. This secrecy serves multiple purposes. It prevents theft attempts. Eliminator's fame makes it a target for collectors who'd pay anything. Keeping the location secret eliminates that risk. It also prevents fan pilgrimages. Now people would travel across country just to see it. The storage facility can't handle that traffic. The secrecy also protects ongoing legal disputes. Jacobs' heirs continue fighting for ownership recognition. If they knew the location, they might attempt legal seizure. The hidden location prevents that possibility. Rumors circulate constantly. Someone claims they saw it in Arizona. Another person swears it's in a California warehouse. Billy Gibbons supposedly knows, but won't say. The mystery has become part of the car's legend. Like a hot rod version of the Ark of the Covenant, hidden away from the world. Number 1. Chapouris. Built one final secret Eliminator before he died. Here's the craziest revelation. Pete Chapouris built one final Eliminator clone in 2020, just 2 years before his death. He told nobody. Not his business partners, not his family, not even ZZ Top. He worked alone in a private shop, using his own money and labor. This wasn't a customer car. This was personal. Chapouris wanted to build the Eliminator the right way. No rush jobs, no compromises, no arguments with partners. Just him and the car, the way it should have been 40 years earlier. He started with a pristine 1933 3-window body. No rust, no damage, no barn-find drama. He documented every step with photographs and detailed notes. The bodywork took 8 months. Perfect panel alignment, flawless metal finishing, no shortcuts anywhere. The paint preparation consumed another 6 months. Blocking, priming, blocking again. When he finally shot the candy apple red, it was the most perfect finish he'd ever achieved. Better than the original, better than any replica. The interior received hand-stitched leather instead of vinyl. Modern chassis components hid beneath traditional appearance. Everything was built to his exact specifications. He finished it 3 weeks before his cancer diagnosis. The car sat completed in his shop when he died. His family discovered it while settling his estate. They found a letter explaining why he'd built it. Redemption. The original Eliminator haunted him with its compromises and shortcuts. This final build was his masterpiece, his actual vision finally realized. Q. The Eliminator transformed from a rushed video prop into rock and roll's most famous hot rod. Its legacy spans 4 decades of music, controversy, and mechanical drama. From barn find to cultural icon, this candy apple red coupe proved that sometimes the most legendary machines are born from compromise, conflict, and pure accident. That's automotive history at its finest.